We are coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios. This is Prime News on SABC 3. Here's what's dominating in your leads at this hour. KZN Hawks head Major General Leseja Senona stood firm in his denials against allegations of an improper relationship with alleged cartel member Vusimuzi Cat Matlala. The Council for the Advancement of the Constitution of South Africa is calling on members of Parliament's ad hoc committee to put political grandstanding aside and consider having a virtual meeting with private investigator Paul O'Sullivan. And the White House says that President Donald Trump does not want to see people hurt or killed on American streets as tensions continue to rise in Minnesota following deadly clashes between federal immigration agents and civilians. We bring to you the world in focus right here on Prime News on SABC 3. A very good evening to you all. My name is Beki Mutubomolete, and I'm here to guide you through the stories that continue to define our world. Let's explore the events that are impacting our lives and shaping our future. Here are your leads. We launch with this. KZN Hawks head Major General Leseja Senona stood firm in his denial against claims of an improper relationship with alleged cartel member Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, describing the allegations as malicious, void of truth and filled with conjecture. Senona is facing allegations of leaking private SAPS information to Matlala and allegedly enjoying a beneficial relationship with the alleged cartel member.
KZN Hawks head Major General Leseja Senona has watered down his relationship with alleged cartel member Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, who he referred to as quote-unquote my brother, as one which was just a friendship, rejecting the allegation that it was improper and further distanced himself from the business relationship between his son, Tato, and Matlala.
I submit that these allegations above are malicious, void of truth, and amount to conjecture. I deny having leaked any confidential information or using my position as the provincial head for benefit of Mr. Matlala or the Big Five cartel.
Senona, however, struggled to explain conduct that could suggest otherwise, such as why he shared the political killings task team disbandment letter with Matlala when he charges that he had no knowledge that the PKTT was investigating Matlala.
I was not aware he's the subject of investigation by the PKTT or any other unit.
In addition, a text message from KZN Top Cop Lieutenant General Nkwazi to Senona was raised by the latter, who described it as a threat and intimidation. However, this text ended up raising more questions for Senona insofar as Senona's reluctance to mention Lieutenant General Shajik Sibiya's name, who is implicated in alleged wrongdoing in the said text.
That you withheld the information, that you were aware that this was mentioned, all these things about General Sibiya, but you wanted to withhold it from the Commission, and that's also why you didn't want to mention General Sibiya's name today in the Commission.
The cross-examination continues. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Pretoria.
South Africa should have a single anti-corruption commission that is free from political control to fight corruption and organized crime. That is according to the Executive Director of Accountability Now, Advocate Paul Hoffman. He was presenting oral submissions to the ad hoc committee investigating allegations raised by KZN Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi.
Advocate Paul Hoffman was the first to make oral representations at this stage of submissions by civil society organizations. He traced political interference to the decision of disbanding the Scorpions in 2009. He says that prosecution-led investigations of organized crime was extremely effective.
Our law demands a body, not several bodies, but a body outside executive control to deal effectively with corruption.
He points out that the NPA and the Hawks, while they are supposed to be acting without fear or favor, they ultimately report to a minister. But some political parties are not convinced.
Perhaps, in my view, and as Umkhondo Wesizwe will say the SIU and perhaps the the Public Protector Office, maybe merge them together.
Meanwhile, the African Policing Civilian Oversight Forum says it wants greater transparency in the appointment of senior SABC and crime intelligence officers, as well as a merit-based system. It also wants Parliament to play greater oversight in the executive decisions of ministers. Ulelane Philip, SABC News, Parliament.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Council for the Advancement of the Constitution of South Africa, Losa Naidu, is calling on members of Parliament's ad hoc committee to put political grandstanding aside and consider having a virtual meeting with private investigator Paul O'Sullivan. Naidu has described O'Sullivan as a key witness and suggests that MPs must look into having an online meeting with him, even though they had resolved to only have in-person meetings with witnesses.
Paul O'Sullivan's name and his alleged involvement in the South African Police Service has come up a few times. MPs have always been keen to have him on the witness list, but till now O'Sullivan has made it clear he will not appear in person, citing a range of reasons, including security concerns. CASAC Executive Director Losa Naidu says MPs have to be practical about how they move forward.
The pragmatic way for Parliament to deal with this is to hear his testimony virtually, and if there are still gaps and there's still a reason to call him in person after that virtual testimony, that option would still be open to the committee.
Naidu says the committee is not functioning as it should because of political interests. He raises concern that the committee is acting in a partisan manner. This is while O'Sullivan has indicated that should he testify, he won't engage with members of the EFF, Action SA and MKP.
We're seeing very different lines of questioning from the different political parties, who clearly have vested political interests in pursuing some witnesses and not others.
Naidu says in light of what's been said about O'Sullivan, it's vital that he appears and explain the role he played within the criminal justice system. This testimony about him and his attitude towards the proceedings has struck a nerve with MPs. The Constitution states that even as a normal citizen, O'Sullivan would be obliged to appear before the committee if subpoenaed. Abra Bobia, SABC News, Parliament.
March and March movement, Jacinta Ngobese Zuma has handed herself over to authorities at the Point Road police station in Durban today after the state opened a criminal case of public violence against her movement, the Umkhonto Wesizwe Party and Operation Dudula. Welcome back to Prime News on 3. The leader of the March and March movement, Jacinta Ngobese Zuma, has handed herself over to authorities at the Point Road police station in Durban today after the state opened a criminal case of public violence against her movement, the Umkhonto Wesizwe Party and Operation Dudula. The charges stem from recent protests at Addington Primary School, during which protesters demanded that the placement of South African learners be prioritized above foreign national learners.
Tension was high at the Point police station where March and March supporters gathered in solidarity of their leader. The police have formally charged the movement and its founder with incitement to commit public violence, alongside Operation Dudula and the MK Party. This follows a week of disruptions at Addington Primary School, where the lobby groups claimed that over 60 South African children were denied admittance while foreign national children were enrolled. While the school and the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Education have denied any discriminatory practices, the protests have drawn significant attention and now legal consequences. The charge of public violence stems from violent clashes between the lobby groups and foreign nationals, which the police broke up using stun grenades and water cannons. Ngobese Zuma is said to have been charged in her capacity as leader of March and March.
There's no private individual that has opened the case. It is state that has opened the case against the March and March movement. And as a leader of the movement, she will then be charged in representing the movement.
Ngobese Zuma says it's disappointing that the state has chosen to lay a charge rather than deal with the issues. She's laid a counter-charge against law enforcement officers, who she says were heavy-handed during protests.
If there was indeed any public violence from members of March and March, police should have arrested us there and then. Why did they wait until now? What was going on all along before they decided that we were violent publicly?
The Umkhonto weSizwe party says it hasn't received information about the charges.
We haven't received anything thus far, so we can't say for sure that we've been charged or not charged. It's just something that we are seeing in the headlines.
Meanwhile, the ball is now in the court of the National Prosecuting Authority, who is to decide on prosecution or not. For SABC News, I am Jade Paulser in Durban.
The Gauteng Department of Agriculture has allocated at least 16 million rands to contain the foot and mouth disease outbreak, which has hit the province. This was revealed during a media briefing by the Department of Agriculture and the Gauteng Premier in Johannesburg. The money will cover, amongst other things, vaccine tests, cleaning supplies, and additional mobile units.
At least 260,000 animals have been affected by foot and mouth disease in Gauteng. Government says it has a plan to contain the animal disease.
With regards to vaccines, more than 286,000 doses have been administered and 90,000 more have been ordered, which we are expecting to take receipt of towards the end of March. In terms of quarantine, all affected and infected farms are under strict quarantine measures, and new cases are being investigated as soon as and whenever they are reported.
The outbreak in Gauteng started as far back as April 2025. According to Premier Banyazali Sufi, it was from an unlawful transportation of cattle from an infected zone in KwaZulu-Natal.
This crisis has serious consequences for the economy and society at large. It will disrupt trade. It will threaten jobs in the livestock sector, and without doubt, it will affect the income of small-scale and community farmers.
On top of the 16 million rand allocated to contain the animal disease, various Gauteng departments have also been roped in to assist. The Department of Transport and the Security Cluster are also expected to conduct roadblocks in high-risk areas. Neria Hlakotza, SABC News, Johannesburg.
On to this now. The families of the 18 people killed in Ngobozana village in the Eastern Cape in 2024 believe that justice will eventually be served despite the slow pace in the matter. The trial against the 6 men accused of mass murder resumed last week after a recess in September 2025.
Defense lawyer for accused number 4, Advocate Zama Somaela, put it to state witness Lwando Abi that his client Bonga Yinza never received any instruction from accused number 1, an alleged mastermind in the case Mzukisi Ndamase, to go and shoot at the Senguna household where 18 people were killed. He stated that Yinza only went looking for a rival group known as the Kubeni Boys with the intention to kill them, but that was unsuccessful as they couldn't find them.
It has begun, but it's going at a very snail's pace. Not that we do not understand why, but we were actually looking forward to a situation whereby the judgment would come as soon as it is possible.
Believe that justice will prevail. The accused face multiple counts including murder, conspiracy to murder, and illegal possession of firearms and ammunition. The trial will continue on Wednesday when the lawyer for accused number 5 will begin cross-examining Lwando Abi. Fundiswa Mhlekude, SABC News, Lusikisiki.
When we come back, the latest fuel price projections from the Central Energy Fund point to a decrease in February, supported largely by a stronger rand. More on this after the short break. Thank you for staying with us. The White House says that President Donald Trump does not want to see people hurt or killed on American streets as tensions continue to rise in Minnesota following deadly clashes between federal immigration agents and civilians. Protests are intensifying while Washington pushes back against growing calls to scale down enforcement.
Speaking at the White House on Monday, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt defended the administration's immigration operations, describing the fatal shooting of Minnesota nurse as a tragedy while blaming Democratic leaders for what she called deliberate resistance to federal laws.
Nobody in the White House, including President Trump, wants to see people getting hurt or killed in America's streets. This includes Renee Good, Alex Preddy, the brave men and women of federal law enforcement, and the many Americans who have been victimized at the hands of illegal alien criminals.
Leavitt says multiple investigations are now underway as the administration insists immigration enforcement will continue nationwide. Amid mounting unrest, President Trump has dispatched Border Security Czar Tom Homan to Minnesota, tasking him with overseeing ICE operations on the ground following Saturday's fatal shooting.
We'd have to arrest 7,000 every single day for the remainder of this administration just to catch the ones Biden released the nation.
The developments come as U.S. Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Gregory Pavino has been removed from his role and is expected to leave Minnesota following weeks of confrontations with protesters. His removal sparked noisy protests outside a Minnesota hotel, with demonstrators demanding accountability and accusing federal authorities of escalating violence in immigrant communities. With investigations ongoing and federal agents still active in Minnesota, political pressure is growing on the White House to rethink its immigration strategy as protests spread. I'm Butlali Pele, SABC News.
The latest fuel price projections from the Central Energy Fund point to a decrease in February, supported largely by a stronger rand. The rand continued to strengthen to reach 16 rand, the highest since June 2022, driven by record prices for key exports including gold, silver, platinum and palladium. The forecast indicates a potential decrease of 65 cents per litre for petrol, 93 octane and 67 cents for petrol 95. Diesel prices are expected to decrease by 57 to 65 cents per litre, while illuminating paraffin is projected to drop by 57 cents. These adjustments are expected to take effect at midnight on Tuesday, February the 3rd, 2026. However, the final fuel price adjustment for February will depend on how global oil prices and the rand perform over the remainder of the review period. Some good news for the country as South Africa has seen a slow recovery in the tourism sector. The latest figures show that the country exceeded the pre-COVID-19 tourist arrivals last year. According to figures released by Tourism Minister Patricia de Lille, the country recorded over 10 million visitors in 2025.
The 2020 report released by Statistics South Africa indicated that the volume of tourists visiting the country fell by 72.6% from 10.2 million in 2019 to 2.8 million. This drastic decline was attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic. Tourism Minister Patricia de Lille says the country has now exceeded the 2019 tourist arrivals.
Between January 2025 and December 2025, South Africa welcomed 10.485 million visitors to our country, an increase of 17.6% against the 2024 figures.
Tourism is a key driver of economic growth, investment and job creation in South Africa, with the minister attributing the turnaround to a number of developments. The department says tourist safety remains a critical focus, with South Africa's strength as a business events destination continuing to grow. The country is also looking to ramp up the use of AI tools in tourism to boost the sector and help tourists navigate the country better. SABC News in Pretoria.
In your sporting news, the iconic Orlando Stadium has had a name change. After more than 60 years of existence, the home of Orlando Pirates will now officially be known as the Orlando Amstel Arena. Pirates will now aim to turn their home ground into a fortress and hope to win their first league title in 14 years.
Orlando Stadium is one of the most used and well looked after venues in previously disadvantaged areas. The 37,000-seater venue was officially opened in 1959. It hosted a lot of football matches during the dark days of apartheid. The venue continued to play an important role during the democratic dispensation and beyond, and had a complete facelift in 2008 and holds a special place in the hearts of former and current players.
I can share a lot of memories with the stadium. You look at the way they revamped it before. You remember we were playing against Tanda Zulu Royal when Tiko scored, I think, 2 goals on that day. So it reminds of those games.
The new partners of Pirates signed a 5-year deal with the club last year and say they will continue to involve the local community.
Keeping the Orlando name was something that was important to us because it's such a heritage site. And we've upgraded the seats, we've done some branding around, and watch the space. We do have plans to do other things, but we do want to involve the community, and we want to involve, obviously the fans in everything we do.
Pirates will host their first match at the renamed venue when they face Magesi FC on Saturday. But the big one will be a potential top-of-the-table clash against Mamelodi Sundowns on the 18th of February. Sfiso Ramara, SABC News, Orlando, Soweto.
It is now time for us to track the trends of South Africa's weather pattern. Our esteemed team of experts are waiting in the fold to update you. Your forecast is coming up next.
A very good evening to you. Let's take a look at all your weather details now. We've got clear conditions in the Western Cape overnight. That's around Cape Town, but partly cloudy skies expected in the eastern parts of that province. Isolated showers expected through the Northern Cape, Northwest Province, Gauteng and Mpumalanga, but scattered showers in the Eastern Free State southwards in towards the Eastern Cape and on that east coast of the country this evening. Now ahead towards tomorrow, we've got some more scattered rainfall for the Eastern Cape northwards in towards the Free State Province and then stretching in towards southern Gauteng and the southern areas of the Northwest Province. That's for the middle of the week, Wednesday, whilst strong winds in Cape Town expected tomorrow. That's 40 kilometers an hour from a south to southeasterly direction. On to some alerts for this evening. Be on the lookout for potential severe thunderstorms in the shade of yellow on the map. Those conditions continue in the forecast for tomorrow, stretching southwards in towards the Eastern Cape now, whilst hot, dry, windy conditions are expected in parts of the Northern Cape, and this could lead to veld fires. Appington dropping to a warm 24 degrees overnight, Cape Town 18 this evening, Gqeberha down to 20, East London the same, Bloemfontein dropping to 19 degrees overnight, whilst Johannesburg drops to 15 and is expected to warm up to about 28 degrees on Wednesday. Low 30s expected for Pietermaritzburg, high 20s for Port St John's and Durban, Gqeberha and East London both up to 26 degrees tomorrow. Oudtshoorn up to 30, Beaufort West up to 35 and stretching northwards in towards the Northern Cape. Appington up to a maximum of 40 degrees tomorrow. Cape Town up to 28, and as we take a look at the extended forecast, Thursday sees hot to very hot conditions through the Western Cape and the Northern Cape of South Africa, whilst in the central parts things remain hot. Warm temperatures expected in Gauteng with scattered rainfalls from the Northwest Province southwards through the Free State in towards the Eastern Cape, where things are expected to be cooler. That's it from me. Enjoy your evening.
The final moments of our broadcast are the bridge, the news of tomorrow. We will be back with more of the stories that matter. Until next time, from myself, Becky, and the team, take care and good night.